Good morning, coral reef and fish lovers. How are you doing today? Good, I hope. I'm good. My name is Annie. I'm one of the marine naturalists here in the park. And for the next 10 or 15 minutes, we'll be talking about this exhibit right here. This is called Shallow Reef. Now, the reason we call it that is because these are animals that you'd see if you stepped off the beach on Maui and you were in the water between about 0 and 30 feet deep, which is pretty shallow. Now, we are a regional aquarium. That means that everything you find here are animals that are actually found here in Maui. And we don't import animals from any other place. Now, we actually collect everything under special state permit about 5 to 10 miles offshore, and all of our corals are alive. Now, we collected these corals as small fragments 3 years before we opened. We put marine epoxy on their bases. We affixed them to cement inside the exhibits, and they've been growing here ever since. Now, we turned 21 this year, so some of these corals will be over 26 or 27 years old. Would everybody mind backing up just a little bit so everyone can see? Thanks so much, I appreciate it. Now, what is a coral anyway? Do you know? All right, you're gonna know in about 2.5 minutes, that's my job. Now, a coral begins as one animal. It looks like a miniature sea anemone. A polyp has stinging tentacles, a mouth, and a gut. It is born with no color and no skeleton. It actually finds a place to settle. It takes minerals out of water, and it creates its own skeleton beneath and around itself, made out of calcium carbonate that's going to be bright white. Now, after it does that, it reproduces in 2 different ways. The polyp will clone itself. So you're going to have a polyp next to a polyp next to a polyp, or one on top of the other. And they also release eggs and sperm, sometimes both, depending on the species. Of course, that's called spawning. Now, when the eggs and sperm meet at the surface, they create what's called a planula. A planula is a pre-polyp. It actually is shaped like a paramecium. That pre-polyp floats along until it gets a chemical cue from some of this purpley pink stuff that's really tied up against the rocks. It almost looks like moss. That is called crustose coralline algae, or CCA if you're in the business. And it actually prepares the substrate, or the stones, for corals to settle. So once the planula gets that cue, it swims down using cilia, settles, becomes a polyp, and stays there for life. Now remember, I mentioned that polyps are clear, right? So what's the deal with all the colors in these corals? It turns out there's a specific type of algae that lives inside the ocean. It comes in many different colors. It's called zooxanthellae. That zooxanthellae algae actually goes to live inside coral polyp skin for protection. It's really easy to be picked off as a piece of microalgae out there in the ocean. But if you live inside another animal's skin, you're going to have more of a chance at survival. So they do that, and in trade for the safe house, the algae pays rent by photosynthesizing. It takes energy from the sun and feeds the polyps that it lives inside. As a matter of fact, when polyps and zooxanthellae algae have this relationship, they're getting 95% of the energy they need to grow from the sunlight through the algae. Are you with me so far? Okay, fantastic. Let's take, I'm sorry, was there a no? I can fix it.
No.
Okay.
I said,
Okay, great. Thank you. I just heard a laugh. I was like, ooh, what did I miss? All right, fantastic. Let's take a look at this honeycomb coral down here. It's kind of honey-colored. You see those little scoops in there? Every scoop is a 1-bedroom polyp condo. So you can see it takes, thousands of animals just to make up that one piece of coral, and gazillions to make up the reefs. Now, I'm sure you know that the incredible planet we share is 70% saltwater. We're an ocean planet for sure. Now, only 1% of the ocean floor has coral reef on it. But 1 out of every 4 marine animals lives on a reef. So it's the high-density metropolitan areas out there. Now, let's talk about 3 of the fish families that live in this exhibit, of course, out there in the ocean. Did anybody notice the fish with that thing sticking out of its forehead? It's eating the lettuce right now. There are a few of them. Well, any guesses as to what they might use that horn for? All right, that's fine. First of all, it's called a unicorn fish. And the horn, turns out we don't know what they use it for. They know that the horn is made out of cartilage. If it breaks off, it doesn't grow back. And it's connected to the central nervous system. But other than that, they've only ruled out what it's not used for, which is feeding, fighting, mating, smelling, or telling the difference between male and female. My two favorite guesses so far are refueling and probably magic, because it is a unicorn fish after all. Now, let's take a closer look at that fish. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Take a look at the base of the tail. See those two spines? Those are as sharp as scalpel blades. They're modified scales, and they're definitely used for defense. Now, there are other fish in this exhibit that have them, but they are tucked in like a switchblade. If you take a look at the yellow tangs, they have a little tiny white hyphen there at the base of the tail. Do you see it? That's where their modified scale is. When they need it, they whip it out for defense. Now, whether the fish has them stuck out permanently or one on either side tucked in, you're looking at a member of the surgeonfish family. Again, because they're as sharp as scalpel blades. Now, I would like to talk about another type of fish in here. Let's see. How about the butterfly fish? If you, up top, if you bend your knees, you'll see a whole bunch of light yellow fish. They've got black masks like superheroes. Do you see them? Those are called millet seed butterfly fish. Most butterfly fish are distinguished by that fact that they've got that black mask over their real eye and a false eye spot near the base of their tail. Now, the false eye spot deters predation in two different ways. Number one, the false eye is larger than the real eye. So, especially when the fish are schooling, if predators look at them, they may think, holy cow, those eyes are so big, the bodies must be comparably huge, I'm not going to be able to take on those fish. So they won't even try. But if they do want to try, they're going to want to go for the head, because the head will disable the animal, right? So if they think the head's the tail, by the time they try to grab it, maybe the fish will have had a chance to get away. So those are the butterfly fishes and the surgeon fishes. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the wrasses. Now, there was one that just headed down to the bottom. It is about 8 inches long, maybe. It was shaped kind of like a cigar. Oh, there it is. It is dark blue with an orange saddle near where we consider our shoulders. Do you see that fish? That is called, appropriately, a saddle wrasse. Now, it is an endemic fish. That means it's only found in one place. When I say endemic, I mean the Hawaiian Islands. And 25% of the fish you'll find in Hawaii are only found here. That's one of them. Now, wrasses, as far as I'm concerned, have an interesting reproductive life. They live in harems. So there'll be one male that takes care of several females. When that male is taken out of the population, the most dominant, powerful female in his group will take his place. She will absorb her eggs, start producing sperm, and then he will be ready to continue the species. It's a one-way street, though, he can't go back. And when a wrasse is born female and switches to male, it is then known as super male. Now, just so you know, a few exhibits down the way on the right-hand side, there is a brightly colored fish. It is pink and blue and green. Just so you know, you're looking at a super male of the surge wrasses. Now, there's a little bit about the wrasses, the surgeon fishes, and the butterfly fishes. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the coral reef that they live on. Earlier, I mentioned that corals are made up of a colony of animals called polyps that have algae living inside their skin that gives them the energy they need to take minerals from the water and create the reef structure beneath themselves throughout their lives. Now, it's true that 25% of all marine animals live on the reef, but other reasons to keep reefs around are millions of people around the world depend upon reefs for their only source of animal protein. The fisheries will often use reefs to catch fish. In addition, reefs act as speed bumps for waves coming from the open ocean. The waves come by, they go through the reefs before they hit the shoreline, and they can be slowed down by up to 97% by those reefs. So you're gonna have a lot less erosion and property damage on a shoreline that has a healthy reef on the outside. In addition, sometimes healthy reefs can deflect major weather events like hurricanes, and reefs bring in quite a bit of money. As a comparison, the oil industry brings in approximately $3.3 trillion every year around the world. That's a lot of money. But reefs, when it comes to tourism dollars, food, and also the search for medicinal compounds, they bring in approximately $9.9 trillion, so almost 3 times more. Now, has anybody heard of the term coral bleaching?
Yes.
All right, that's going on around the world because the ocean temperatures are warming faster than the corals can adapt. What happens is, when the ocean temperature gets too high, the algae inside the coral skin catches a virus. So the polyps expel that algae, they push it out. They're pushing out their own color and 95% of the energy they need to grow the reef and to live. If in 1 to 2 weeks the temperature is reduced, the algae can return to the coral skin and continue photosynthesizing. Otherwise, the coral's gonna die. Now, we're in the middle of a bleaching event right now. It's an El Nino year, when there's always a spike in temperature. But as the temperatures are moved up higher, that spike is gonna be pushed up higher as well. Our water temperatures in Hawaii are generally between 72 and 78 degrees. This summer, bless you, they've already gone up to 83. Now that's a big difference, especially for these delicate animals. Our last major bleaching event was in 2015, also in El Nino year. The first bleaching event that was recorded around the world was in the 1980s, and these events are happening closer and closer together as time goes on. Now, after the 2015 bleaching event, we assessed the damage around the world. In Hawaii, 30% of the corals had bleached and died. In the Great Barrier Reef, it was 50%. In the Caribbean, it was 80 to